Yes, so it is. It is a Thursday episode, my friends, of Donno Daily here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I am Alex Donno. We got Sean Stanley in the back. We got a lot to get into. I have some very interesting nuggets on Deshaun Watson, not only what's being widely reported by some of the national guys like Mike Florio and ProFootballTalk.com, and Jay Glazer from Fox has some reports as well. I've got some inside stuff from my source we got to get to. I want to remind you guys, Donno Daily is served by the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. Guys, make this your spot all football season long for the wonderful buffalo shrimp, the fresh seafood. I love the sushi at the Quarterdeck. Build your own poke bowl with all these options. Drink specials all football season long, guys. You go there on a college football Saturday, an NFL Sunday. Take advantage of the 5 for $15 buckets of ice cold Heineken Light, Amstel Light, High Noon Hard Seltzer. Mix and match them to your heart's content. The beer is always cold at the Quarterdeck. I actually went to the Quarterdeck yesterday, had a wonderful time. I had the All-American burger, perfectly cooked to my specifications. They have that secret sauce on top, the melted cheese, the bacon strips. I had tater tots on the side. So freaking good. We're going to have a 5 Reasons watch party at the Quarterdeck for a Heat road game in Denver on November 2nd. So a little over a month away. We'll be giving you guys details over the next few weeks on how you can join people like myself, Ethan Skolnick, Sean Stanley, the entire crew from 5 Reasons Sports for a Heat road watch party. QuarterdeckRestaurants.com is where you find them. Come for the food, stay for the fun. Boy, good afternoon to everybody who's already in on the chat. My guy David, almost always the first one in. He says, you know what? I'm all now for Watson on the Dolphins. What the hell? Let's watch this team implode. Yeah, David is not a fan of the idea about the Dolphins acquiring Deshaun Watson. Just for the record, I'm not a fan of it either. Like, I'm following the reports. I'm following my sources. I'm now expecting it to happen, and I'll tell you why. That doesn't mean I'm a fan of it. I've got people, cursing at me on my Twitter timeline and stuff, thinking that like I'm okay with, with a guy who could be a sexual predator joining my football team. If you watch this show, you know that I have a lot of reservations about Deshaun Watson. Not only morally, I have reservations about the fact that we can't say with any certainty that he's not going to be placed on the commissioner's exempt list and suspended. And there are still pending criminal cases here that are being looked into to go along with 22 pending lawsuits. There's a lot of baggage here, okay? This situation is a mess. But let me come right out of the gate and tell you some of what I've been told from my source who was texting me again late yesterday evening. He's been spot on with a lot of stuff, okay? He texted me around 8 o'clock last night, new quarterback coming. And I said, who? Figuring who he was talking about, Deshaun Watson. And here is what the Dolphins and Texans are reportedly discussing right now. He's got a source close to Nick Caserio, the Texans GM. They are reportedly discussing 3 first-round picks, 1 second-round pick, and 2 third-round picks. So remember, last week we told you that the Houston Texans really wanted Xavier Howard in a deal. The Dolphins have never put that on the table. Andrew Green, thank you for the super chat. Sure, sir. He says, this is disgusting. Would be a real shame if they make this move. A lot of people feel that way, right? You would be alienating certain members of the fan base if you were to make a move like this. But the Dolphins also want to win. Stephen Ross wants to win. He also told me that Tua Tagovailoa could quite possibly be heading to Washington football team for a second-round pick. And I asked him timetable, what's going on here? Because we all know, again, there are uncertainties with the legal situation. We don't know exactly what Roger Goodell is going to do if Deshaun is actually active, because Goodell has not stepped in and done anything. He's not put Watson on the commissioner's exempt list because he hasn't had to. Because Watson, who's still a member of the Houston Texans, they've not activated him at any point for any game day yet this season. They don't plan to. So the commissioner has not been forced to come out and do something because the Houston Texans have been taking care of that problem for him right now because they've not put him on the active list. Let's see what else here. So he reiterated, no players involved. They're just talking about draft picks. He told me 15 minutes ago that Monday might be the day. So keep your eyes out over the next 4 days or so, what's going to happen here. And so that's what I've been told here behind the scenes. All right. Pull up, Sean, a couple of these tweets out there Pro Football Talk, and then Jay Glazer, who are indicating something's going on. Pro Football Talk tweeted last night, as the season unfolds, teams other than the Dolphins could re-enter the Deshaun Watson trade discussions before the November trade deadline, including the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, the Eagles definitely want Watson, all right? And they have a lot of assets they can offer as well. What could be the deciding factor here is Deshaun Watson has for months, he's wanted Miami, that this is the place he wants to live. In fact, I people were showing me photos of his Instagram. I don't follow him on Instagram, or it might have been his girlfriend who posted this, but I think they're in South Florida right now. They're on a boat somewhere off the Florida coast. I don't know if that's any way related to the trade discussions. He probably just likes to vacation here like anyone does, but he may even be in our area right now, Deshaun Watson. But no, the Eagles definitely want him. Deshaun would prefer Miami, although if he's been watching Miami's offensive line the last couple of weeks, he might be having second thoughts about that. But remember, he has a no-trade clause. So that is the amount of leverage that Deshaun Watson has. He does have some leverage here. Did he lose leverage with all the investigations going on and the lawsuits? Absolutely, because less teams want to acquire him with all this smoke that's been happening since back in March. So he lost some leverage for that. But whatever leverage he has left, if Philadelphia make a reasonable offer, reasonable by the Texans' terms, and Miami makes a reasonable offer by their terms, Deshaun could kind of be the tiebreaker there to say, hey, I don't want to go to Philly. I want to go to Miami. I'm only going to waive my no-trade clause to go to Miami, not to Philadelphia. So that could end up being the deciding factor here. Florio points out that it's not just the Dolphins here, that other teams could get involved. I still think the Dolphins have the edge, and so does Jay Glazer. So Jay Glazer posted this, and I'm not going to, he didn't really say anything original in the video versus the text. We're not going to play the video for you, but he said, in case you missed it, on Sunday, I shared that the Texans' stance on trading Deshaun Watson has softened, where they weren't even returning calls from teams in camp. That has changed. So they're now actually returning calls. They're opening up a dialogue. As for teams, he says, to me, Miami makes the most sense and probably has the best chance to pull it off if, capital IF, a deal gets done. I want to read some of the comments we got coming in here. Ray Gruyon writes in, yikes, that's a lot of picks, Donno. I know we have 2 1s in 2023. Yeah, let me tell you again what my guy told me the picks that they're talking about right now. 3 1s, which could be, I'm sure, the one in the next draft. The next draft is the 2022 draft. So the 1 first from the 2022 draft, the two 1s from the 2023 draft, 1 second rounder, 2 third rounders. Now, if the Dolphins are able to do what they're talking about here and trade Tua for a second round pick, you may immediately take that second round pick and give it to Houston as part of this deal. So 3 1s, 1 2, and 2 third round picks. So that's what they might be talking about here. MB Beggs writes in, Marco, even if he begins to play this year, he will be indicted November through December, at which point he'll go immediately on exempt list. That means no Deshaun Watson for playoffs. Let me see what else we got here. Here we go. Jay Hollacane writes in, once he's traded, they'll settle and he'll be suspended for 4 games, which will be then reduced to 2. I don't know. And listen, this is tough. I'm not, I would imagine that NFL owners who are interested in acquiring Watson are trying to get whatever info they can out of the commissioner. Like, I would imagine that they're trying to open up a dialogue with the commissioner. Now, the commissioner doesn't always play ball, right? Because Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft especially, felt incredibly burned by the Deflategate stuff. Like, he felt blindsided by that. He wasn't expecting the NFL to hit them that hard. So the commissioner doesn't always play ball with these owners the way that they think he should, because he does technically work for them, right? The owners are the ones who pay his salary. But I would imagine that Eagles owner, Dolphins owner, front offices from those teams and anyone else interested I'm sure that they're blowing up the commissioner's phone saying, hey, like, what do you think you're going to do here? Because, yeah, you haven't had to put him on the exempt list because he's not active. What happens if we acquire him, activate him? What are you going to do then? Is he going to play ball and maybe work a deal and say, you know what, maybe we'll just wait until that this stuff gets sorted out? Alfredo Arteaga writes in, there is a case to be made that Watson could never play again. What are the percentages on that, though, that he'll never play again? I mean, he's, 26 years old? I mean, yeah, if he gets locked up in prison, but, even, Michael Vick came back from a prison sentence, Plaxico Burress, and they played again. I don't know. I would probably – yeah, there's a chance he never plays again. Obviously, when you have 22 lawsuits pending, 2 criminal investigations pending, yeah, there's a chance he never plays again. Ooh, I think the power just went out in my house. Are we still on? Hey.
Yeah, you're on. You're on.
Okay, great. That's weird. We just had like a power surge here.
Your lights are out.
Yeah, I know. Hold on. I think we just had a.
You can put it up like a campfire.
I don't know. I think Roger Goodell just tried to cut my power. He doesn't like the truth bombs that I'm dropping here. You think this is like an active sabotage? Hold on.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I think my I think maybe the circle light I used just got burned out or something. Whew. See if I can find like a better lighting angle. Hold on. Can you see me a little bit better now? This is what happens, folks, when you tell way too many truth bombs. The man tries to cut you off and silence you. Hold on real quick. Let me just I want to turn on the light in this room. I think I can get a little bit better lighting on my face. 1 second. All right, let's try this now. How do we look? A little bit better, right? You can see my face. And Sean, by the way, are you a little bit jealous of what I got on my head today?
Yeah. They do exist at least.
It's like I saw Ethan yesterday, and he had an extra hat in his car, and I'm like, giddy up, I got to get that on. Oh man! All right, let's bring in our first guest of the day. One of our absolute favorites. Does an awesome job with finmaniacs.com. Does so much great charitable work as well. Really, really a genuinely great human being, unlike the quarterback the Dolphins may be trying to acquire here. Let's bring in Jason Sarnie, joins us here on Donno Daily. Jason, you see what they're trying to do here. They're cutting my power. They're trying to sabotage me for talking about the idea that Deshaun Watson could be a Dolphin by Monday.
I don't know whether it was a bill pay issue by you, Alex, or the guys over at 5 Reasons, or if it was an ominous situation with talking about this quarterback talk that they just cut the plug on you. But you're not. You're here, and I'm here, and I appreciate you bringing me on. How you doing, bud?
It's my pleasure, man. And listen, I can't say for sure what's going to happen before the November 2nd trade deadline, but we've have had a lot of reports. Jay Glazer has doubled down on it. Pro Football Talk is writing about, hey, that there are other teams now, again, in a Deshaun Watson sweepstakes in addition to the Miami Dolphins. And yet I've also talked about so much uncertainty about him possibly being suspended, about these lawsuits not being settled. Personally, I'm not a fan of the idea of acquiring him. I want to make sure everyone knows that I am not a fan of acquiring Deshaun Watson. And I think you're going to alienate a lot of members of your fan base for moral reasons if you do that. But Jason, do you think this could actually be a reality?
In the NFL, anything could be a reality. I mean, where there's smoke, sometimes it can produce fire. Gun to head, do I want a trade to happen for Deshaun Watson? Probably no, with all the things that are going on behind it. Do I want a more solidified quarterback situation in Miami? Absolutely. How that actually happens, I don't know. But I will say this, Alex, that whatever happens or does not happen with the quarterback situation will likely be the Chris Greer legacy. Because right now, the legacy is missed first rounders.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a way out, Alex. There's
a
way out. And if there is a trade to be made, I don't think the way to do it will be future picks.
Ooh. How do you do it then?
You farm system it. You trade picks, but names with picks, meaning picks that were already made. The Texans they're the Minnesota Twins from the 90s and 2000s. Yeah, they're like the bad reference with the 90s. They were good then. But you know what I mean? They're a team that needs help. You need to give them players. You could also give them picks that they need to put the onus on them to make the right pick. But what you could also do is give them projects. You can give them a Noah Igbenogany. You can give them an Austin Jackson. You can give them 2 or 3 picks, but 3rd, 4th, 2nd rounders, conditional picks, to give 3 first-round picks for a guy who, as someone referenced on what you just said earlier, might not play it down in the NFL, might be suspended 4 or 2. You can't trade 3 first-rounders for a busted lottery ticket.
Yeah, you're right. And by the way, you like you said, you referenced Alfredo said there's a chance he never plays again. He writes in another message here. He says, here's his scenario for how he never plays again. 1 year exempt, 1 year suspension. That takes us to 2023. He gets a minor conviction, reinstatement in 2025. He returns to the NFL as a 32-year-old. Man.
The thing you're listing all of these kind of things, and regardless of the crime, it almost reminds me of the Michael Vick scenario.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And oh man, it's such a convoluted topic and that also brings me to something that I don't want to harp too much on. But we all have to look at a lot of things that go on in the NFL and what have happened. Mm-hmm. And I live here in Philadelphia. And I'll tell you, I'll knock on every single door that I'm passing right now on my way home from Costco, Alex. If you ask them, Michael Vick, what do you think? Oh, he was electrifying. Oh, he was a great Eagle. How many people are going to say what we really want to hear? Same thing with a lot of fantasy players everybody roots for. A lot of fantasy players. I don't want to get too detailed here, but a lot of people like to talk about the personal issues, the off-field stuff, and I'm with it. I respect it, and I'm aware of the potential backlash. But at the end of the day, Alex, there are people playing in this league that have done a lot worse. Believe that or not.
It's true. No, it's true. And by the way, you as you reminded me, you're in Philadelphia.
Right.
And I know you cover the Dolphins, but you're surrounded by Eagle Nation there, and the Philadelphia Eagles are another team that's been mentioned in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. What are folks up there saying about it?
I ask them what they think about Jalen Hurts all the time, and a lot of fans are very reluctant to give a hard answer. Yeah, he's all right. We'll see. Yeah, okay, he's all right. We'll see. And usually it's either all the way one way or all the way the other way with this bunch, even if they're dead wrong, because there were people who were literally calling Carson Wentz God. And I think there is a structure of Nick Foles being built somewhere. But, I think if I'm running both franchises or if I'm putting myself in that position, I stick with Jalen Hurts if I'm the Eagles. And if I'm the Dolphins, if you're desperate to bring in a quarterback, it really should be someone with a little less red tape. And speaking of tape, I think that they've really just got to tape Tua up in bubble wrap and give him as much chance as possible. And someone tweeted this earlier, Alex, that their offensive line, I hate this combination stuff. I'm off it. You have Liam Eichenberg, who was a proven left tackle. Let him play left tackle. Agreed. You have Robert Hunt, who was a proven right tackle. Let him play right tackle. Enough with this flex stuff. The 8th, 9th guy on your offensive line, let him be 4 or 5 player position player.
It's how I know Jason is such a pro, because he did the segue for me, like into the actual football stuff, because I was about to do it, but Jason got us there. So I want to talk a little bit about the game this Sunday, Jason, and it looks like a winnable game against the Colts. That doesn't mean the Dolphins win it, but it looks like a winnable game against Indianapolis. It's also a little bit of a revenge game for Jacoby Brissett. He's going up against his former team, which should be interesting. I know some Colts fans, and they're fully expecting Jacoby to have like a career performance against them this coming weekend. And I would argue it's a must-win game, because teams that start 1-3 only make a top 7 seed in the conference, and that's going top 7, even though, in previous years before last year, only the top 6 made it in. But if you project it out of the top 7, teams that start 1-3 only make top 7 in their conference 10% of the time. And if they start 1-3, there's also a pretty good chance they start 1-4, because they have Tampa Bay in Tampa the following week. So I'm calling it a must-win game this weekend, Jason. Can you do anything but agree with that?
It's a must-win. 1,000%. I mean, just when you think about it, 500 versus 1-3, it is a remarkable difference.
Yeah.
So I agree.
Yeah. And okay, so what are your expectations this weekend, and what can they learn from the Raiders game. And despite a lot of poor execution and I thought way too conservative play calling, the Dolphins still came, a flag away from potentially winning that game in overtime. But, the dinking and dunking, I mean, you had 12 catches for Jalen Waddle for only 58 yards, which is an NFL record for fewest yards on at least 12 catches. It gives you an idea of the Dolphins' offensive philosophy. Are you expecting them to attack downfield a lot more this week?
You would like to think and hope. Now, what you put on plan and paper and what you want to do versus what you do on the field are completely different things. I don't know if the plan was to throw a screen pass to Jalen Waddle in the end zone, but that was a hiccup, and that's what happened, and that's basically what turned the game around. What I really would like to happen is to have much more of a creative aspect to the offense. That doesn't mean throw Malcolm Brown in the Wildcat. It means doing something different, even if it's a variation of what we've seen before. Have Jalen Waddle take one of those Tyreek. I've been calling for this since he was drafted. Pretend he's Tyreek Hill. Pretend the quarterback is Pat Mahomes. It's the easiest pass in the world. Snap it, drop it into their lap on a sweep, and have Waddle run to the pylon. Do that. Do a flea flicker. Even if Jacoby misses 15 yards past Will Fuller, which would mean it's like a 90-yard throw, try it. Try it. Who cares? If you're going to miss big. Don't miss stupid. And that's my whole thing. So if you're going to go for a bomb to Devontae Parker, don't do it in the middle of the field. Do it to the sideline. So if it's an overthrow, the sideline person gets to put some catches on film for him and his family. And that's it. Be more thoughtful. Don't be stupid. And that's not I'm trying not to knock an NFL coaching group. They're smarter than me. But they're making a lot of fans look like fans could kind of call games right now.
Yeah, and I like what Andy MG writes in the chat. We've turned Jalen Waddle into Jarvis Landry. It's right. I mean, we're throwing the same sort of pass. And I know Landry played for the previous coaching staff, but they must have watched film of what Adam Gase used to do with Jarvis Landry. Let's do that with Waddle.
Let me throw a crate. I love my stats, and I know you know that. Waddle averaged 4.8 yards per catch, which we all see. It was the exact same average that Peyton Barber averaged against us per rush.
Oh my gosh.
And when you really think about that, that's disgusting. Like that should not happen, because it's almost like Jalen Waddle gained negative production on each catch, because he should have averaged 9-10 yards more per catch.
Jason Sarnie from Fin Maniacs is with us here on Donno Daily on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Any cause for concern with the Dolphins defense? I mean, they've been giving up a lot of yardage, and they're actually right now a small sample. That's why I'm not hitting the panic button yet. But right now, they're worst in the NFL on third down defense. And a season ago, they were best in the NFL on third down defense. Is there a problem here, or is this going to get kind of sorted out as the season goes on?
I'd like to hope it's going to get sorted out. And then I'll get.
I think he might be driving into a dead zone there nearby the car. See, wait, we're losing Jason a little bit. You see, you notice, guys. Here's the deal. You notice what's been happening over the last 10 minutes or so. They cut my power. I had to reconnect here. They cut my power. They try to shut me down. They try to shut down my free speech. Now they're trying to shut down Jason Sarnie because he's giving us the real deal on the Dolphins defense. It's a little concerning. And I know Jason is there, and I feel like he's. I think I've lost you. Your face is surprised. Man, who knew Roger Goodell was this powerful? Hold on, you might have to wait. Oh, the image moved. The image moved. I don't know if that means. Yeah, I don't think you're back, bro. I think you might have to try to reconnect, or we might have to call it a day.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the internet's like in Philly there. Oh, he just dropped.
Well, the thing is, like, I understand, like, when you're driving around, and I appreciate him joining us, like, even while he's in the car. I know he's driving responsibly. He's a responsible
Should we
captain.
do a disclaimer about that? Podcast at the same time?
Listen, he's clearly he's clearly got the phone, like, prop, like, he's got one of those, like, in-car holders, So he's not like touching it. So he's driving responsibly. I mean, it's not really any different than talking on the phone via Bluetooth while you drive. I don't think he's doing anything wrong there, but the problem is when you're connected to, data, cellular data while you're driving around, you enter certain dead spots, and there's probably a lot of those in Philadelphia that it's gonna create some problems here.
Yeah, who knew something in Philly could stop something?
David writes it. Stephen Ross is watching Alex Jones. Get out of that weak zone and go, man. Jay Hollicane writes, Herbert has everything to a dozen. Another first-round miss. Defense will be fine. Offense has to produce more. Absolutely. Damn it, Herbert. You have to be so good. Yeah, do you think do you think the Dolphins would be reportedly this active in trying to acquire Deshaun Watson, if not for the fact that their 5th overall pick is getting outplayed by Los Angeles' 6th overall pick? And I saw Anthony Moulet was I never know if I'm pronouncing that correct. I'm gonna go with the French pronunciation. Anthony Moulet was asking me. He said, "Oh Jesus, get over the Watson stuff." He said, "What are you hearing, Donno?" Yeah, I mean, listen, my source told me that they're definitely working on something. That Miami has opened up the communication channels with Nick Caserio, who is talking to them. He's opened up the phones, like Mike Florio said. Actually, I think it was Jay Glazer who said it during training camp. They weren't answering anybody's calls. They weren't open to it. The Texans are open to it now. They're answering calls. They're opening up dialogues. The Dolphins are interested. We know Miami is Deshaun Watson's preference. 3 1s, 1 2, and 2 3s. These are the draft picks that are in the conversation, according to my source. And he even said something could happen by Monday. And by the way, another thing he told me, which is it's really a bummer if this were to come to pass, is that the Dolphins are potentially sending Tua away, possibly to WFT, Washington Football Team, for a 2nd-round pick. I would be sick about that. That would really make me upset because I like Tua a whole lot, and he hasn't gotten a fair shake here yet. He's being compared left and right to Justin Herbert, who's been magic. Okay. Tua has had a garbage offensive line, didn't have any weapons last year, does have some weapons this year. The O-line's even worse. They get him injured. All right, let's go back to let's bring Jason Sarnie back in. I gotta. Oh, there he is. He's set up. Listen, Jason, again, they're trying to sabotage. They cut my power before they came on. They cut off your cellular data. So someone does not want us to have the conversations we are having.
I was in my car and a log just flew right out at me.
Oh,
we started talking about the situation, but that's neither here nor there. But I'm okay.
This is like Final Destination here.
Hope not.
Yeah. So last thing. I mean, you were getting in some words on the Dolphins defense. Just close in your thought. How do you expect them to rebound from what's been a tough couple of games? Obviously, against New England, they did a good job. Bend, don't break, and Xavier Howard saved the Dolphins that game. Against Buffalo, the offense left them high and dry. Against the Raiders, they gave up a ton of 3rd downs and a ton of points and yards. But what are you expecting from this point forward?
Well, they did a better job of getting some sacks last week. Overall, they're over about like 22, 23 quarterback hurries. So more sacks are going to come from your Aguas, from your Andrew Van Ginkles. Jalen Phillips, a major reason why I think the defense is going to start to improve. He's been upping snap count. He played in a great deal of snaps against the Raiders, nearly got to Carr. His production's coming. They're developing him. Rookies need to be developed. Rookies don't need to be Jason Taylor right away. He's not going to be Jason Taylor. But the defense also, you mentioned it, bend, not break. That's typical. That's not something that I'm worried about. What I am worried about, penalties and that 3rd down conversion on the other side. The offense converting too much. The defense is on the field too long. But I think about 6 different players have caused a fumble. Not all of them have been Miami recovered for turnovers, but the turnover streak is alive and well. They put points on the board, the defense. This is they are the Jacob deGrom collectively of football. If they were to get 28 plus points on average of offense, they win 14 games. Like deGrom would win 29 if he got run support.
Exactly. Listen, I love chatting with you. We had the technical issues. I got to let you run because we have somebody else coming up. The great Barry Barger is going to join from BetUS.com. But Jason, let people know, my friend, where they can find your work, where they can find you on social media.
Work, finmaniacs.com. Check out everyone's work there. They do a great job.
Yeah.
Social media, Jason_Sarnie at Twitter. I will be in Miami this weekend. Alex, will you be in attendance to the big game this weekend?
I don't think I'm going to be in attendance, but if you're around town, give me a shout. We'll figure something out, man, because I want to see you.
Bud.
I want to see you.
Thanks for having me on, as always. Loved having
I appreciate it.
The talk.
Yeah, I love it. This is a great dude. And actually, it's funny because I don't think I'm going to be in attendance, but I am going to be doing post-game afterwards on 560 The Joe. So maybe I should find a way out there. Maybe I should take my kid out there. Although his attention span, absolute zero. When we're watching games on TV, he watches 2 plays and then he wants to get a football and just imitate what they're doing on the TV. So I think he might end up being an athlete. The only thing that'll hold him back is he's got my genes. So if not for that, I think the kid could end up being an athlete because he has the effort. Like, he wants to play. He wants to do well. I just don't know if he's going to have the physical gifts being related to me. But let's go. Oh, and Jason's saying sorry for the tech difficulties. Not a problem, my friend. I was having them as well. My lights burned out here. This is an act of sabotage. Let's bring in a man who always brings it strong. And we've got a couple of important games locally and a couple of important games outside the market I want to break down with our next guest from BetUS.com. And by the way, guys, if you haven't gotten on this train already, why haven't you? BetUS.com is America's favorite sports book. It is a full-service sports book. The customer service is impeccable. If you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out, a live chat. They've got a 1-800 number. You're going to be assigned your own customer service rep to help you through everything you need at BetUS.com. Mine is Carla, and she is fantastic. Guys, you can get odds on everything, NFL and college football in full swing. I also bet a lot on the UFC fights. I bet on international soccer. I went 1-1 in Champions League bets yesterday. I've got like 8 pending bets in Europa League today. We'll see how I do. I'm feeling pretty good about it. Thursday night football tonight. You've got our Canes playing, and you've got an NFL game tonight. Full Saturday and Sunday slate. I'm telling you guys, and it's so easy. If you haven't signed up for an online sports book before, I'm telling you, you're going to love it. And we've got a hookup for you. When you sign up, use our show code 5RSN125. That's 5RSN125. And they're going to hook you up with a 125% sign-up bonus. That's if you deposit with your credit card, 125%. If you deposit with crypto, they'll give you a 200% sign-up bonus. You play, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. Let's bring in our guy, the man, the myth, the legend, Barry Barger. Barry, coming off another solid week. And by the way, I love how professional Barry looks. Like, he's got like the serial killer whiteboard behind him, where I guess it'd be more like the detective one. You know, those detectives who solve those cases, and he's like drawing stuff out and connecting the lines. Yeah. I would love to get some insight on how your mind works, man. You must have like odds and spreads and picks for like 100 games there behind you.
Okay, I've got 3 other whiteboards right here, same size. I've got a small one. Dude, I do not have enough whiteboard space for everything I do. So I'm doing all these radio shows that I keep track of, like the different markets, and then the team-wise and what to do and keywords when I'm writing. And it's I could use more, truthfully. I mean, really. I'm just going to paint the wall. They have this whiteboard paint. You just do the wall like that.
You should do that. See, and my problem is I try to keep it all up here. Right. So I end up retaining like 10% of the stuff that I'm supposed to do. So
even with all these whiteboards, that I do way too much of that myself too. Because I think, I've been able to get away with it. And then all of a sudden I'll miss something and it'll be like, oh, it's on your whiteboard. Why don't you look? Yeah, man. How'd the weekend go? All good.
It went well, man. I had a pretty good weekend in the UFC fights. A positive NFL weekend. Didn't do as great with college football, and I did have. Usually I focus on the NFL with you, but since we have a local team involved, and I am a University of Miami alumnus, so I'm all in on the Canes. They've made me cry a lot over the last few years. Miami, they have their ACC opener tonight against Virginia. Now, I'm calling this, Barry, even though Miami is 0-0 so far in the ACC, they have everything to play for in the conference. I'm still calling this for the Canes a must-win game, because if they can't beat Virginia, I think the only winnable game on their schedule after that is probably Florida State, because Florida State is awful. So it's like, I think this is an important measuring stick, and they play in Tallahassee, so that's not going to be 100% either. But if they can't beat
Duke?
Virginia tonight, I really worry. Yeah, maybe Duke.
Yeah. But they have some tough ones. Yeah. Oh my gosh, UNC, NC State, Florida State.
Yeah, NC State looks really good.
Well, yeah, right. Oh my gosh, yeah. I hear so the Canes. They're going to go with says King's out, right? They're going with that freshman quarterback.
Yeah, I think they're going with Tyler Van Dyke, who's he started the game last week. They basically rotated evenly between Van Dyke, who's a redshirt freshman, Jake Garcia, who's a true freshman. I thought Garcia even looked a little bit better last week, but Van Dyke has seniority. I think they're going to edge that. Also, like people were reporting that they saw Garcia on campus, like on crutches, which is probably I don't know. I can't verify that 100%, but it's not good. So it's going to be the Tyler Van it's going to be the Tyler Van Dyke show tonight.
Okay, cool. Well, there used to be a Dick Van Dyke show way back. He was a real solid comedian. Maybe that's his grandson or great grandson or something. I don't know.
Might be his great granddad. I just hope he doesn't do that thing where he trips over the ottoman when he's running out to the field.
See, so you know that.
Oh yeah,
everybody does.
I watched the reruns growing up.
All right. Yeah. So did I. That was
So I look at this game and obviously, Miami has not fared well against Division I competition. Home night game tonight. Obviously, that's going to play at least a little bit into Miami's favor. Virginia's bad. So Barry, I mean, people can argue Miami's bad as well, but for Virginia, their passing offense is solid. But their defense is they only have 5 sacks on the year, and that includes a game they played against William and Mary. So it's a really rough defense for Virginia.
Count. Yeah. So
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, this quarterback, he's tough. He's throwing for 400 yards 3 games in a row. So that's a little tough. And both defenses, neither one is great. But Virginia is horrible against the pass. So they're bad. So hopefully this guy can wing it. Hopefully, I mean, because I think that you can really throw the ball in Miami and I mean on Virginia, I think you could throw it and you can pass it. I mean, you could throw it and you can run it. Excuse me, because they're giving up 200 yards a game just rushing. So you can do basically anything against Virginia as far as offense goes. So they've got a lot of, even though King's hurt, I think they have a lot of options to go with to blow out this Virginia D, because without this guy throwing 400 yards a game passing, they wouldn't even be in games. If they could figure out some way to thwart that a little bit, this could be a really big win for Miami. What are they favored by 5.5 or 5.5? 62 for a total. That sounds high because we talk about NFL so much, but I think that's probably an over because neither defense is what I'd call great. And I mean 62, they could score that in a half. But get the Canes now before it goes to 6. Then it starts hitting those major numbers, 6, 6.5, 7. If you get a lot of money on it, but 5.5, lay the wood, baby. They're at home, and they had Kurt Herbstreit called out the Miami. What did he say? They don't. Education it isn't one of their priorities at Miami.
Well, no, he said athletics wasn't one of the priorities because if anything, they're focusing too much on education, which is I guess that's okay for the diploma that I have, but I think I'd rather the education be in the tanks and the football team be a national champion if I had my choice.
Right. I know. I went to Arizona State and neither one was great, but football or education. But this is Miami's always got the potential. It's almost like sometimes those guys are like, there's more fun things to do. Not sure if I'm going to play the second half hard if we're losing. It's just like some of these college teams. They're college kids. If they're not playing for national championships, sometimes they slack a little bit. And but I'd say get on that now. Get it before it goes to 6, because it's already risen, I think, from 4.5. I believe it was 4.5 when it opened, or yesterday. So it's rising. So people are on the Canes. At least there's a lot of money.
I'm 100% with you. And even though I cheer for Miami and I went there, I'm pretty realistic about their situation. And but tonight I feel pretty good about Miami -5.5. So I'm completely with you on that. I wanted to segue to the NFL. Not that this is a great game, but it is the Thursday night game, so it's tonight, and people are going to want to have action on this. So I'm looking right now at BetUS.com. We have the Cincinnati Bengals hosting the Jaguars tonight. Obviously, the Bengals are favored. That's no surprise. They're -7.5. Over-under is 46. Do you like anything here? Because, yeah, the Jaguars are garbage. The Bengals have been really good this year. I'm thinking about going Bengals here, even with the 7.5-point spread. What do you think? Do you think otherwise?
No, I think I'm with you. Okay. I don't like giving up 7.5 really in the NFL if I don't have to, but it's a Thursday night game, so I'm going to play it. And the Jaguars defense is horrible from last year. Even it's just in shambles. And Joe Burrow. Here's like they've got a leash on him. Like he's only attempting 20 passes a game, 25. Whatever. It's really low because they're easing him in from his injury from last year. They don't want to have him get shocked by a big hit that kind of scares him, but I think that he's going to be able to be a little loose. I mean, Mixon will obviously be able to set him up because Jacksonville, they aren't going to be able to stop Cincinnati at all, man. And Trevor Lawrence has already, I think, he have 5 picks?
Yeah.
And 2 fumbles maybe. And so, like, this game, it's like 7.5. Are you sure you want to lay that? It's in this game? Yeah. I mean, Thursday night, kind of scares me a little bit. Sometimes they get a little unpredictable or low scoring, at least last year. But I don't think that Trevor Lawrence or the Jags are going to keep up with Burrow. He's hooking up with Jamar Chase so well now. I think they better touch at least one touchdown pass every game after preseason. Jamar Chase can't hold a ball. I think he's doing fine. And that old LSU hookup, they were teammates, is coming to life at Cincinnati. And Tyler Boyd's another stud. I mean, so that's a guy that if you've got Tyler on your fantasy football teams like I do, I've got him on 2 of them. I'm playing him. I'm playing it. Mixon might have the biggest rushing game of the week. So, Jacksonville's defense against the rush is kind of middling, but they're 27th against the pass. So Joe Burrow should have plenty of time there and be able to pick who he chooses.
I love it. And I completely.
What do you think? You like that? You like Cincinnati? I mean,
I like
7.5 too, right? Yeah.
I'm locking that in. I probably should have even done it this morning, but I'm a procrastinator in everything. Even when it comes to my own money, I procrastinate. So I'm gonna. And actually, a funny story on that. What was it? Was it last week that the Thursday night game was that Carolina-Houston game? That was last week, right?
Yeah.
So we had the conversation about it that day, and like I gave you credit for making me some money, and I also gave credit to the old Chinese proverb that says, "You lose 100% of the bets you do not place." So we talked about that game last week, Barry. That we went with the under and with Carolina, and both of those hit. And I got like so distracted or busy, whatever it was, after we got off the air, I found myself driving at like around 8:15. And I knew I'm not going to get to my destination until after this game kicks off. And yes, live betting is an option. So all wouldn't have been lost. I could have done live betting on BetUS, but I really wanted to get this in before kickoff. So I found a gas station, pulled out my mobile phone because it's so easy at BetUS.com. I locked him in, and, if I had waited 10 minutes, I couldn't have got it in pregame. And I said, you know what, Barry and I talked about this today. I've got to lock in Carolina, and I've got to lock in that under. And then it was a double boom that night. So thank you.
You're welcome. BetUS Mobile is so simple. I mean, it only takes a couple of minutes. You could have pulled to the side of the road and just bring it in. I mean, it's easy. So I'm glad you got it in.
Yeah,
At least you had the wherewithal that, okay, I should really get this in because the game's going to start. And then you could have kept betting it in live betting and won more. I mean, like live betting's it's like so huge. So that's great, man. And Carolina, like a couple of these teams. So Denver and Carolina too. They're looking so great. Their defenses and whatnot. But like Denver's played the 3 worst teams in the NFL, and Carolina. So we're going to start seeing these teams be tested. So this is going to be an interesting week because Denver's got a challenge. Gosh dang it. I don't know.
Denver's got Baltimore, and then with the other one, Carolina is on the road at Dallas.
Right. There it is. Okay, cool. Yeah. So it looks like 2 losses for those guys. Oh, I gotta say this because I gave it out on a show I did last night. And his wife is a big Denver Broncos fan on the show I did. It was a Bucks Nation show, but I mean, or Tampa Bay area. But like Baltimore is just stone cold.
Yeah.
They were +1 at the time. I'm checking it right now, and so. At BetUS, it's pick'em now, and it's still a play.
Wow.
Baltimore, they're at Denver, and everybody's buying it. Listen, Denver hasn't. They aren't at the level of the Baltimore Ravens, man.
No.
Just telling you, like, get on that because that'll probably end up at 2.5 by the time kickoff.
I'm literally gonna lock that in right now because I got the page open. I don't want that line to get any bigger.
Man. No, it probably will. Like I said yesterday, when I bet it, it was Denver -1, and I was like, "What?" No, that's just a big play. You know what? And as far as let's see, we want to talk about the Dolphins, right?
Yeah, I do. I wanted to ask you about that. Now, the Dolphins are they're home Sunday against Indianapolis. They're 2-point favorites at home. They come off just a wild game, and honestly, last week, Barry. I thought the Dolphins really shot themselves in the foot last week with their conservative play calling because when they were down 11, and then late they finally started to open it up a little bit and throw downfield, and good things were happening because before that everything they were throwing was 2-yard dinks and dunks all over the place, and it really got them into trouble. So I'm hoping that last week was a wake up call because I do think Indianapolis at home for the Dolphins, I should say, are beatable. What do you think?
Oh. I think the Dolphins are all over them.
Yeah.
I don't know if Wentz is playing or not, but he's hobbled and immovable.
2 bad ankles.
Yeah, right. Dude. How do you play on 2 bad ankles? What are you leaning on? I mean, it's like you need a cane. I don't know what to do. So, but Jacoby Brissett, I think he's going to be able to pass on them. Like in fantasy, I know they've given up like the 6th most fantasy points to wide receivers. And they're gettable on the passing and I don't think the Colts are a good team with all their injuries. I think they just lost. Did they lose Quentin Griffin again too?
I'm not sure.
Major offensive lineman. So the Dolphins, I mean, like these points should be higher. I mean, like really, I don't understand why it hasn't gone over like to 3.5. Probably because they're at home too. It's 42.5. It's low total. So I expect this to be a low scoring game actually, but I think the Dolphins can throw 28 on them. This is like a 28-17 game or something, which would put it over. That's tough for me to bet that under. What do you think on that 42.5? Dolphins D. I mean, they could shut Indy down to like single digits, literally, because they're past D.
The total's a tough one for me. I agree with you. The Dolphins are covering. I think I'm probably going under because again, if the way Miami approached things offensively last week is any indication, like they want to win a lower scoring game. So I'm probably either going to stay away from the total or go under, but I'm definitely going Dolphins -2.
Yeah, that's kind of my feelings too. I don't have a strong play in the total because I think the Dolphins are going to be able to dictate the game and they're going to be able to control the ball. They're going to be able to, and they're just going to burn the clock. They're going to try to just run it down their throats. And I think like you said, they're probably going to play a conservative game, but they can against the Colts. I really don't see any problems they have. So, I mean, why take chances, I guess, in this one? So you might be right on the under there. But I don't see the Colts getting close to the Dolphins here. I think this is at least a touchdown win for them. You know what? Dolphins are really underrated here. You know, they're not getting the credit. Maybe it's because, you know, Tua's not back and Brissett's more of a, you know,
More of a manager, I guess.
Game manager, I guess.
But another factor, he's going up against a team he used to play for, so that could be extra motivation.
That's his. This is this is a revenge game. Yeah, like you know, that's always extra motivation. I always love like Tom Brady going. Tom Brady going back to New England.
Well, and that's a good segue. I wanted to get into that, and that's another big spread as well, by the way, because the Buccaneers on the road, they're going into Foxborough, and they're 7.5-point favorites in the game. That's a tough one for me. Like I'm looking for your advice on this one because the Bucs are obviously the better team. And you know what? Brady's probably going to get more cheers in that building than the Patriots will because they still love him. They love him up there.
Right.
Like if he leads one of those like game-winning 2-minute drives, like they're going to be cheering, not booing when they lose the game. They love the guy that much. So
probably.
I don't know. I honestly don't know what to do with this one. Buccaneers 7.5-point favorites in New England. What are you thinking here?
Well, they're down to 7 now. So now I think that here's the problem with this game. Okay, so you've got Brady's going to be super motivated, wants to just freaking put on a show. Belichick, on the other hand, is one super smart coach, and he knows Brady better than anybody. So he's going to know how to defend him if it's possible against the Tampa Bay. So at 7.5, I would definitely take New England at 7. Boy, it's a tough one because there's so many emotions involved here. You know, it's one of those games where you know the intangibles like that. Who's going to deal with it? You know, Brady's going to deal with it fine because stress isn't a thing with him and he's very focused, and with Belichick either. But it's like. The players, like on the New England, the new guys, are they enamored? Like we're playing against Tom Brady. Oh my gosh! And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my god, there goes the guy that I was supposed to cover. Oh, hi Tom. I don't know. It could happen. I'm saying. So, boy, on that, I would hope to go to spec 7.5 and take the plus 7.5. That'd be comfortable with. Okay. What about you? You like the?
I don't know, man. I'm and listen, I'm not going to argue with you because this is a tough one, but it's such a big game. I've got to bet something on it. I think I'm leaning to Tampa. Like and I like that. If it's at 7 now, I think I'm going to go Tampa minus 7.
I think I am too. And I mean, plus you got Gronk. They love Gronk too. So Gronk's coming back.
Yeah, that's true.
And so Antonio Brown was there for a week, so he's coming back kind of.
Big homecoming for him.
Yeah. What? Wait. If he's even playing, I think he was injured last week.
Yeah, you're right. I don't think he is. Yeah.
And so, but what a super Sunday night game, though, man. Yeah. I mean, and so Brady's he's set up to break the all-time passing record past Drew Brees, and so NFL figured out those averages, scheduled it just right, so he'd break it in New England. That's genius. Brilliant. I love that. I love that kind of marketing. I love that kind of like planning. That's just smart.
Oh, he was on Brown was on the COVID list. Somebody wrote.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, listeners.
And last thing I want to ask you, this is not a betting question. It's an opinion question. There is some noise over the last 36 hours about Houston being more open now to dealing Deshaun Watson. The big teams that get mentioned are Miami and Philly. And from what I understand, even though publicly they've said the opposite, Miami they are interested, which it makes me a little bit sad that, if that does come to pass, you're closing the door on Tua, which kind of makes me sad because I like the kid and there were so many expectations when they drafted him, but I don't know,
give him a shot. I mean, give him a little, go ahead.
And then also with Watson, the thing that makes it really complicated is, there's a good chance he gets suspended or put on that commissioner's exempt list. They haven't had to do it because he hasn't been active. Like there's been no reason for Goodell to put him on the list. So I don't know. It's very uncertain, legal situation pending. I mean, what's your feeling here? The trade deadline's about a month away. Do you think he gets dealt?
You think something would happen, right? I mean, with that, I would think behind the scenes they know a little more, like, because to be able to trade him, to be able to do something, you got to kind of know, is he going to be put on the commissioner's exempt list? Is he going to be, I'm guessing he probably would get maybe a couple game suspension or something, but I wouldn't expect it to be seeing anything severe. By the way, he has as many civil charges from women as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do returning starters from the Super Bowl, which is 22.
Oh, that is such a great point. Oh my God.
I wrote that in an article, like, or in my power rankings, like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I haven't pulled it up again, but is it funny? I think it is.
I don't know. Like, honestly, like, even when I was laughing, I'm like, should I? I was like, should I be laughing? Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's just, but we'll have odds up on where he ends up. I think, like, later today or tomorrow. Like, we have first coach to get fired odds up now. And so BetUS has I didn't know he'd be this big a favorite. I knew he would. Matt Nagy is minus 150 to be the first coach to be fired.
He should have been fired before the season even started.
Exactly. And what he put Justin Fields through last week, that's just total negligence. Total negligence. Let's see. Mike McCarthy's 28-1. Dan Campbell 23. Mike Tomlin 15-1. Woo.
Wow.
Zach Taylor at Cincy's 9-1. Anyway, that's Urban Meyer 7-1.
Oh, that's another one. They never should have hired him, but we'll see how long it actually takes to fire them.
These experiments in Jacksonville, not with that kind of their defense was so horrible. Even with the top pick, Trevor Lawrence, and coming in with all, I expected more from them, truthfully. And some just aren't NFL coaches, man. That's no cakewalk up there.
Yeah.
But we'll have the odds on where Deshaun Watson ends up. Also, I was just checking to see if they're on. So BetUS will have the odds on, if he gets traded or if he stays. Where will he be playing this year, or he won't be. That kind of thing. So check. It'll be under NFL specials at BetUS.
I like it. Barry Barger. Excellent job, man. If you have, I know you're writing all the time. Do you have any stories that have just dropped or that are coming out? Let people know where they can find your work.
Just the locker room at BetUS is just a wealth of information as far as whether your teams go. Every week's games are written up, and these are real writers that know real stuff. They're great. So if you go to that, you'll have every subject from every sport that you want. So go there and check us out on Twitter at BetUS_official. We also have BetUS_NFL and BetUS. So we have like detailed ones, but since we talk about NFL and college, and go to BetUS_official, and we post promotion specials. I think we're giving away like $100 yesterday for a caption, and they're giving away a jersey. There's always stuff on there, so check it.
I love it.
Plus, there's always information for your betting.
Huge, which is big, because like not only can you actually place the bets there, you also get information to help you make the right bet. So there, it's great. It's really a full service sports book in every way.
One-stop shop, like I like to say.
I love it. Barry, thank you so much, man. Enjoy your weekend. Let's get some W's this week.
Let's get some, man. It's always great to talk to you. Appreciate it every week. Awesome, man.
I love this dude. He brings such a great energy. Great stuff. And that'll do it for us. For those who maybe tuned in a little bit late, obviously you want to catch everything we talked about today. We had a big Deshaun Watson discussion. There's a lot of noise that a trade could happen, possibly to Miami, possibly to Philadelphia. I told you what my sources are telling me about the Miami angle of it, some of the other national reporting as well. So if you missed the early part of the show, you can go back and catch the replay on YouTube. Literally right when we're done here, right when we sign off, the full replay is available. For those who are maybe tuning in for the first time, welcome. We do the show every weekday, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. right here on the 5 Reasons Sports YouTube channel. I am Alex Donno. We got Sean Stanley in the back. Oh, Anthony Millay asks, is De'Ara King starting tonight? I'm not expecting it. It's not 100% confirmed. I am 99% sure that Tyler Van Dyke is going to be starting tonight for Miami. King is making progress, but he's still banged up. There's even been a report that Jake Garcia is a little bit banged up. I cannot personally confirm that, but even if Garcia was 100% healthy, I think they would still start Van Dyke. I think they were going to start the same way that they did against Central Connecticut. So I think tonight, Thursday Night Football, Tyler Van Dyke is going to be the starter this evening. And like Big Dan says, it is not too late to hit that like button, my friends. Smash the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel, 5 Reasons Sports. Huge shout out to Barry Barger for joining us from BetUS.com. You guys know what to do. Sign up at BetUS.com. Full service sports book. Place wagers, NFL, NBA, college football, UFC fights, MLS soccer, international soccer. Basically every single day I'm betting on European soccer games, and I bet some MLS as well. BetUS.com. Sign up with our code word. They're going to ask you if you have a code for a bonus, and you do. 5RSN125 for a 125% sign-up bonus. And make sure you guys are checking out the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill, the official sports bar here of Donno Daily. And the Quarterdeck, this is such great news. Ethan and I, we met up yesterday. We met with my guy, Frank Zaffrey, owner of the Quarterdeck restaurants, and we're going to have a watch party. We're going to be doing multiple watch parties at the Quarterdeck throughout Miami Heat season. We're going to have the first one is going to be November 2nd. So mark it in your calendars, a little over a month away. I do not want you to forget. November 2nd, we're going to have a watch party at a to-be-determined Quarterdeck location, and we're going to watch Heat versus Nuggets on the road. You're going to get to meet people like Ethan, like me, like Sean Stanley, because you better believe we're going to drag his ass out there, Manny Chang, Greg Sylvander, Royal A. Shepard, the entire crowd. I could go on for hours and hours and hours. Brady Hawk will make him come out for sure. You can meet all the great personalities at 5 Reasons Sports. November 2nd, we're going to have a watch party at the Quarterdeck. And check out the Quarterdeck before then. You don't have to wait a month to go out there and enjoy the 2-for-1 happy hour all day, every day. Enjoy the delicious seafood, the amazing burgers and sandwiches, the 5 for $15 ice cold buckets on Saturdays and Sundays during the college and NFL games. It is such a great place to be, guys. If you want to peep their menu before you go or find the location nearest to you, visit them online at quarterdeckrestaurants.com. The Quarterdeck, come for the food, stay for the fun. Oh, and my guy Marco, by the way, who is a fan of AC Milan in the Serie A. We are rival fans. I'm a fan of Inter. He's a fan of Milan. He says, Donno, acknowledge that Milan got robbed in the Champions League game yesterday. I will admit, they got robbed. It was some of the poorest officiating I have ever seen. And I was on a Spaces on Twitter. You know how people do those Spaces? I was on one of those talking Serie A, talking Champions League yesterday. And yeah, I thought that the second yellow for Kessier that got him sent off was a little bit soft for sure. I thought the handball call, admittedly, the first several times I watched the replay, I thought it was a legit handball. But then, like the 100th time I watched the replay, I realized it did go off the arm of the Atletico player, Lamar, before it went off the arm of Kolulu. So they were very hard done. Like that was terrible refereeing. I got no love for Milan. I felt bad because I wanted them to lose the game. I didn't want them to lose the game like that. So Marco, you have my sympathy, sir. You do. I appreciate everybody. Marco, Andrew Green, you're awesome. Big Dan 305, Jay Hollicane, thank you so much. I don't know if I mentioned Anthony Moulet yet. Maybe I did. David, Big Dan 305, Rafa in Miami, thank you so much for tuning in. Lakers all day dope, thank you. Alex M. Oh, and Alex M, I know he'll be tuning in tonight. We've got our episode of 5 Rounds. We're talking combat sports tonight. So sad about what happened to Nick Diaz last week. I am so sad that he lost. We're going to talk a lot about it this evening. We're going to have 5 Rounds, 6 p.m. streaming right here on 5 Reasons YouTube. Yeah, I can put my head in the paper bag. Drew Boo, thank you so much for tuning in. Elvis McDaniel, thank you. I love your name, King of Rock and Roll. Bonehead Fishing, thank you so much. Bow Leg, thank you. Fantasy Fan Panel, thank you. By the way, I know I'm going to miss some people. I apologize. I'm trying to shout out as many as I can. Andy MG1, thank you so much. Josh Ritter, thank you for tuning in. I don't know if I see that name in here very often, so hopefully you stick around and listen to us full time from here on out. Ryan Sproviero, my paisan, thank you so much for tuning in. And JP, I'm tired of scrolling, guys. I saw Jesse Lockhart was in here. I'm tapping out. I'm done. Everyone who tuned in, chatted with us live, thank you so much. Hope you guys tune in again tomorrow. We'll wrap up the weekend style tomorrow, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. right here on Donno Daily on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Ciao.